Audio Jungle.
Good evening and welcome to yet another one other session of Ace Up My Career. So we have been talking about careers for a couple of weeks now, and as we all know, career is not the one that we should start thinking only after we complete, and it's a lifelong process, as we all know. So far we have been talking about candidature building, profile building, and standard-wise expectations, how to prepare ourselves for that. And now, under the category of streams to dreams, how to navigate our streams to our dreams that we are thinking about. So this is the second week. Last week we were discussing about pure science group, and this week we are here to discuss about engineering group, which is a hot spot for many. So in this session, what we are going to see is a kind of a strategist framework for students to navigate from the very complex landscape of engineering careers into a dream-making career. Maybe they'll start living in their own dreams. So that's what our session is going to guide them through. So the core philosophy of this emphasis is on self-discovery. Students will discover themselves, during which this will urge the individuals to evaluate their interests, aptitude, strength, personality traits, shortcomings before selecting a specified or specialized academic path. Now, why do we do that? There is a big thread behind this, because students keep on changing the courses after joining their universities, many of them. So this will eradicate that problem, at least to some extent, to some percentage, by having a very detailing of the various degrees, their timelines, and the vast ecosystem of the technical disciplines which are involved in that will guide and illustrate how a theoretical science is transformed into a tangible global progress where everyone will be contributing without compromising on their own interest and their dreams. In this, beyond traditional and conventional roles, which has been talked about, this material highlights diverse opportunities. During this session, I'm going to give you diverse opportunities in different fields of exactly entrepreneurship, engineering expertise, maybe public service, even defense and government sectors. Thus, framing engineering as a versatile, systematic way of thinking. Ultimately, this should be able to give you a roadmap for the personal alignment of your interest, ensuring that it is mapped with the capacities such that it will match up to the evolving demands of the modern industrial economy. End of the day, we all confined to that, right? So on that note, please allow me to share my screen for today's session. Thank you. So on that note, let's together express our sincere gratitude to IIU, which is a global education confederation, which is prevalent in 195 countries on 6 continents. And definitely it is a leading virtual education system with a broad foresight of making education possible to each and every one of them in any corner of the globe. So with the core mission, delivering innovative programs and quality training to young leaders and learners globally. So our sincere thanks to Mr. Piyush Pandit, a visionary founder, a passionate educationist who is the brain behind this IIU, and who is a very committed social activist. That's why he has put the tagline as inspiring, inventing, and igniting young minds, as he does always. So moving on to our session today, navigating into engineering careers of 2026. So this structural blueprint for self-discovery and academic progression, thereby navigating the engineering courses as a career roadmap from self-discovery to a professional placement, such as for taking India as one of the example country. So, but it is applicable for other countries as well. Most of the courses and most of the process remains the same as such. So, when we talk about career, it is definitely aligned to the foundation of the career alignment, where the 4-quarter square method evaluates the capacity to align with external opportunity. So it's orientation versus aptitude, and definitely it distinguishes between how you learn, your academic versus practical, and your natural technical capacities which are being built up with the evidence-based guidance framework, which is derived from the framework which is used by more than 7.5 lakh students across India. And that number will even add more with this year, with the completion of the year 2026. So now, mapping up with the engineering landscape and the pathways, what are the different domains or disciplines of engineering? As we know, the chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, and mechanical engineering. These are the 5 pillars of the modern engineering, where the course specialization includes these substations exactly as well. So what one will require is that the engineering mindset. When you say engineering mindset, what is it exactly? Success requires baseline functional requirements, analytical thinking, pressure management, and good communication skill. So if you have this aptitude, definitely you are in the process. And so it's not only BTech, BE, or integrated BTech, or the dual degree of BTech plus MTech with the PG, or etc., 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 where the baseline eligibility starts from or stems from 10 and plus 2 with PCM, physics, chemistry, and maths. Thereby, if we have not exactly nailed it with all the engineering, what other career orbit, that is phase 2, which we call it as beyond the technical roles. There are always roles available with the civil services, armed forces, banking, and entrepreneurship. So this is what the whole session is going to sum it up or give you a pathway or a roadmap. So navigating these careers with a structural blueprint for self-discovery, aligning with the internal capacities, with the mapping up with the external market realities across engineering and mass media. So there is going to be a methodological framework which we always talk about, which is the 4-quarter square method and the visionary foundation of IIA, basically, through which we are mapping it up. So we are trying to engineer our future with the 2026 career roadmap. So thereby the 4-quarter square method helps us to know one's dimensions of career alignment as interest, aptitude, orientation, and personality, thereby mapping up with the navigating engineering landscape with the 5 pillars of chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering. So you have to choose which field is your liking, with the flexible degree pathways of BTech, where you're going to just align your dreams into reality, where BTech, integrated BTech, and BTech plus MTech, etc., and beyond which the beyond technical roles of Indian service, armed forces, banking, and other fields. So the core philosophy starts with the inner circle. That is a holistic education with a self-discovery. That is a true engineering potential is unlocked by identifying one's unique strengths, values, passions before selecting the degree path. So aligning with the internal capacity and the external opportunity, thereby we are going to explore the careers in India, uncovering the immense potential which is in the rapidly growing domestic economy, preventing the brain drain through purposeful alignment. So where do we start? Definitely with the student, exactly. It is called as the diagnostic analysis or the engine, aligning the potential with the reality. First, we should know the interest, what you enjoy doing. As such, there lies, it starts from your hobbies, your specific areas of interest, or your individual drive, which is there inside you. So aligning your passion, which is otherwise called as a passion, aligning your passion with intrinsic motivation and the interaction with the environment and the surrounding, how often you incline to do these things, very often. So in that case, you're going to align your interest with the personality, with balanced assessments of your behavior traits, that is trait compatibility between the academic curiosity and the practical application. You are going to map it with your interest and your personality and the academic performance. Thereby, you will be able to, as a student, you will be able to arrive at the career alignment with the precision trajectory mapped to the market realities exactly, with the aptitude and the technical capacities which will help you in terms of mathematical, scientific knowledge, social and skill-based domains, and how you learn, which are the learning styles that you have, whether you're a theoretical person or a hands-on person. Based on that, you will be able to map it very clearly. So with the engineering process, transforming science into progress, that's what we are going to see. That is, applying the scientific method to solve problems, whether it is natural sciences or mathematics or with the efficiency or infrastructure and the technology. So from designing vehicles, it could be from designing vehicles or to the electronics or to creating materials and the energy systems, and the engineering transforms theoretical science into tangible human processes involved or the progresses which are there. So if we are going to align this diagnostic engine to meet the market realities and the person potentials, we are bridging the gap between the academics and the corporate worlds. Thereby we will be able to take it further, and definitely with the academic orientation of mathematical and computing, that is with the logical reasoning abilities, technical problem solving skills, critical thinking and experimentation and demonstration and exploration, and the skill-based practical task-oriented abilities aligned with the specific traits, and of course able to express themselves freely with a good communication and the cultural understanding, thereby plotting your capacities. Engineering is not solely about math, but different branches require distinct shapes of aptitude to find or to create your own unique geometry. So from there, if you see the academic orientation, that is from low to high, means slow learner, to the high learners, means performers. With the curious explorers, you will be theoretical thinkers who love to explore concepts but will need support in the real world execution. And moving ahead, if your academic orientation aligns with very high with the practical orientation, you will become a visionary leader as such, and with strategists who seamlessly blend to the theoretical knowledge with practical execution. If at all you have at the lower end, you will need foundation, focusing on building motivation and foundational skills. Otherwise, you can be a creative makers who will excel in hands-on tasks, building and fixing things, less engaged by pure theory. If your science, your physical science, aligns with any of these learner profile matrix, you can place yourself where you belong to. So once this placing is clear, then you will be able to align it with the engineering mindset. Whether you have a very good mathematical ability, analytical thinking and logical process, analytical skills and logical thinking, with problem solving skills and attention, not compromising on attention to detail, and ability to manage pressure, ability to work in a team with good communication skill, and not compromising, not giving up on the creativity and innovation involved in that. So if your academic pattern logic is mapped up with this requirement of the basic requirement of the engineering mindset, you will be able to achieve beyond the degree before selecting the specialization with your personal holistic requirements that are being given here. So when we do that, exactly, now we should know exactly if you have decided your course of study, exactly where you're going to align yourself. What is the progression of timeline? How long is your study map is going to take? Bachelor's, definitely with the BTech, 4 to 6 years. And with the post, exactly, basically the baseline starts from PCM, as I told you, 10th plus 12th standard. And it starts with BTech, BE, BS, BF, and technical with 4 years. And with 2 years of PG, then it is BTech integrated. With the masters of 2 to 5 years, definitely it is BTech plus MTech and BS and MS, integrated MTech 5 years after 12. So post-bachelor's is MTech and ME, that's 2 years plus. And if you're going to have an extension of doctoral, then it's 3 years plus with the PhD and MPhil, and doctoral, postdoctoral for BSc. So this is going to be how many years of study that you have prepared yourself for. So this is what you need to think about. So with that, if you are done with that, exactly your basic 5 different pillars of engineering, have you decided whether it is mechanical, electronics, electrical engineer, etc., 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 and the year course of study very clearly, this many years I'm going to devote for studying and to equip myself. Then comes to the specialization. When it comes to the specialization, it is chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering. These are the 5 substations which are there. Now, with these substations, there are different domains of study which you can focus on. With the chemical engineering, it is biochemical, biomedical, genetic, plastics, material, textile, metallurgical study. So, if you think about chemical, so these are the fields of study, the options are there, so you can choose your area of study. When it comes to the civil, exactly, water engineering, mining, geotechnical, architectural engineering, environmental engineering. All these things come as the disciplines of study for civil engineering. When it comes to the electrical engineering, basically, so computer, power, electronics, software, telecom, power, computer. All these things come under the category of, under the pillar of electrical engineering. So when it comes to the industrial engineering, financial study, so financial, fire and safety, manufacturing, supply chain and systems. If your domain says that you're interested in these things, definitely you can go in for the industrial engineering. And the mechanical, finally, is that the automotive engineering, marine engineering, robotics, thermal and automotive engineering. All these things come under the big header of one big umbrella of engineering study. So apart from that, the independent nodes also form an area of study, that is agriculture, food, petroleum and nuclear and applied sciences. So if these are also your areas of interest, you can think about these things. So this is the ecosystem of the whole engineering sciences as a study. So where you belong to, where your interest lies, you can think about that and you can just structure it, or you can think of create yourself. So with the specialization dashboard of flight and space, this also is there with the aerospace engineering and aeronautical engineering. Aerospace is development of the aircraft and the space time. That is aeronautical and astronautical. That is, what are the fields of study that you should have interest in? The fluid mechanics, propulsion, space flight mechanics, thermodynamics, and design optimization. So if your interest lies in these areas, then you can go in for it. Or otherwise, aeronautical engineering, which focus strictly on aerodynamics performances, aircraft design and propulsion systems, with the principles of aerodynamic, gas turbine engines, aircraft stability and control, experimental stress analysis, and beams and trusses. So these are also open. These are also the field of study as specialization. So when it comes to the specialization dashboard of earth and agricultural systems, agriculture and food engineering comes there as combining biology, chemistry and engineering for farm machinery and soil management and sustainable food processing. So again, your subsets of study says that crop production tech, irrigation engineering, farm machinery, post-harvest engineering and renewable energy sources. So apart from that, there is another field of study which you can think about is applied geology, with the scientific study of earth focusing on the practical applications of groundwater, mineral deposits and the engineering conditions as petrology, global geodynamics, contaminant feed transport earth surface processes and crystal fluids. So if your specialization is going to be on earth and agricultural system, these are the different areas of study that you can think about. So there is one more specialization dashboard which comes with system and maintenance, where the core focus is aircraft maintenance engineering, with the critical inspection, troubleshooting, repair and upgrading the aircraft to ensure absolute flight safety, and it requires immense passion and skill. So with the core subjects are aircraft avionics, digital electronics and instrumentation, flight dynamics, hydraulic and pneumatic systems, human factors in innovation, and the rules and regulations. Definitely, these are your areas of study. You can think about this as well. So if we have covered about the specializations which are involved in it. Now, we are going to think about what you will become with these specializations. So the career orbit phase 1 says that with the technical core as your study, as an engineering graduate, when you are involved with the manufacturing and infrastructure, you can become an automobile engineer, civil engineer, structural engineer, and the production engineer, where manufacturing and infrastructure are your core of study. So if your engineering study or if your field of study is on material and elements, where you can become ceramic engineer, metallurgical engineer, polymer engineer, and leather technologist. So moving ahead from the manufacturing and the earth systems, now coming to the technology and systems, what you can become is a robotic engineers, optical engineer, instrumentation engineer, and a computer scientist. With the more specialized sciences which are involved in it, that is talking about volcanoes, like volcanologist, oceanographer, meteorologist, and a climatologist, and astrogeologist, all these things can also become the careers. So with the technical core of study. Now moving ahead with the orbit phase 2 with the public sector and beyond the technical courses, where you can definitely think about government and defense as Indian services and engineering services, IEC, Indian Armed Force Services, and Indian Railways as well. So with engineering graduate, coupled with academia and research and academics, that is overseeing labs and mentoring students and publishing technical papers, this also can become a career with non-core entrepreneurship. That is starting your own business with a production unit, with the ancillary factory, merchant navy, officer cadet and marine apprentice, and the banking jobs, etc., etc., etc. So these are beyond the engineering core technical part of it. Of course, technical is involved in it, definitely, but you will be working with the government systems, etc. So the blueprint is yours with the field of study, specializations, and the different disciplines which are involved in it. Now, the blueprint is yours to be built because it starts from you. Start with the inner circle, and the industry always awaits you. So engineering is just not a degree. It is a systematic way of thinking by applying the principles of self-discovery, understanding your unique aptitudes, orientation, and personality. You transform a vast landscape of choices into precise, targeted career trajectory. So manufacturing and infrastructure, technology and systems are also there. Materials and elements also there, government and defense are also there, academia with the research paper, research analysis, R&D development is also there, and also there is a part for non-core entrepreneurship. So it's all within you and you are going to structure it. So this is what we have seen today, exactly in the beginning of engineering your own future with the career roadmap that we have seen. Now we are going to see almost in detail for each and every pillar. So the blueprint of creativity career guide. So demystifying the education and professional pathways in design and fine arts after the 12th grade. So when it comes to the design and fine arts, what is that basic thing? Creativity. Creativity is basically your root. So the complex and human and environmental needs with aesthetics, functionality, culture, and society basically. And it starts from down with the optimized constructs of clothing, UA, landscape, and vehicles. It involves a design technology with the holistic problem-solving method of vantage point over end user, understanding the system not just as a symptom. So you will be a person who will be working with aesthetics, functionality, culture, and society, and the core mandate is doing more with less, maximizing the economy of the materials, investment, and the energy to your creativity. So definitely, if you are a very creative person, but also with the engineering aptitude, then you can think about going in for design technology. When it comes to the design, exactly what is it? Design dimension, core purposes, functional interaction between the person and the environment. And when it comes to the fine arts, the same thing, more or less, emotional expression, intellectual simulation with aesthetic values being depicted. So if that's the core purpose, dimension 2 is the driving force. When it comes to the design technology, the end user specific needs and capacity that you will be thorough with the process with the holistic problem analysis and system optimization, and the outcome is solution, products, interfaces, and optimized experiences. when it comes to the fine arts depicting. So with the emotional expression, intellectual simulation and aesthetic value, the artist's internal vision and thoughts with experimentation with the various materials and techniques which are being used, provocations, beauty and evocative standalone pieces, the masterpieces which are being created. So core qualities for success when it comes to this field of study is that the cognitive engineering with analytical skills and the problem solving skills, open-mindedness and ability to accept all feedbacks and reviews and to work on that, understanding the previous past, connecting it to the present and taking on to the future, that is understanding the art, history and culture with a creative eye, with the artistic and aesthetic skills, affinity towards art and drawing definitely, creativity and imagination with strong visualization and observational skills. With the executor's toolkit, there will be a strong practical orientation, organizational, interpersonal skills, technical skills, and time management. All these are the core qualities for success when it comes to the design technology as a field of study. With the 4-quadrant method, basically, it aligns with your interest, with your hobbies, environment, and interaction, with the aptitude to acquire new skills which are required with the inherent capacities, analyzes how individuals approach work together with the learning and decision making, provides insights, traits, and professional role compatibility with the dynamic integration of aligning market realities with the personal potential. So assessing your own capacities with the 4 aptitudes of the mathematical computing, scientific, social languages, and the skill-based exactly, you will be able to, if your skills say that you are very good at logical reasoning, technical problem solving, critical thinking, experimentation, communication, cultural understanding, with the practical task-oriented abilities for specific trades and crafts. So this is, if it is mapped with the intrinsic motivation, one can naturally interact with the people in the environments. That is what is required. So as we have seen before, again, the mapping of the academic orientation with the practical orientation is to be done exactly as the way that you look into with the people orientation in a collaborative mode with a close orientation with as an individual that needs more kind of intervention and recommendations to improve yourself. So what does the education escalator says when structuring your ascent is that basically it starts from 10th plus 12, that's the baseline, with a certificate of 1 to 2 years, that's the first 2 years, and the diploma of 2 to 3 years. Undergraduate bachelor's, if you're going to take, it's 3 to 4 years, with a postgraduate master's of 2 years and a doctor of 2 years. So this is what it is going to be, and the degrees are already mentioned here. With the specialization, taking, say for example, if you're going to make a bag, exactly. So if your specialization is with the accessory designing, pattern making and designing, translating concepts into structure, using fabrics and materials, understanding the physical properties of them, industrial production values with the manufacturing techniques and scaling, with the craft development and the history technique, traditional techniques and historical context, thereby understanding the marketing strategies and merchandising with the consumer characteristics and the economical conditions. So if you feel this is your field of areas of interest, then design technology is your field of study. With the same multidisciplinary rigor applies to all the specialization from furniture to fashion. So with the digital and the virtual world. So how do we work through with the constellations of the digital world now? As you can become a 3D animator or modeler, interpreting concept art into 3-dimensional CGI reality with the scope and weight, so that you will have your 3D presentation before bringing the final product. So the 3D texturing and lighting artists require the biological understanding of the skin, geographical elements which are involved in it, textiles with the surface of the virtual worlds, with the UI and UX artist and designer establishing the usability strategies, accessibilities, and the visual feel or the user interfaces. Digital sculpture, if you want to become digital sculpture with manipulating digital objects and if made with a real clay, live clay. And the game designer and developer, that's quite famous, that we don't need to mention even. So the creative force authoring storylines, objectives, and manufacturing. So if your field of study is with a 3D animator modeler, 3D texturing lighting artist, UI, UX artist and designer, digital sculptor, game designer, developer. You have to decide which is your area of interest and you can choose it. So, with the apart from the virtual background, now it's career constellations of fashion, wearables and accessories also come under the field of engineering, with couture and fashion designer creating your couture, ready to wear through trend, fabrics and trimmings, fashion technologists sourcing fabrics, ensuring quality control, improving production and efficiency, fashion director and stylist designing overarching fashion concepts and visions rather than individual garments and coordinating photo shoots, fashion curator and journalist preserving history in museums, educating public and critically reviewing trends. So, the specialized roles could be from footwear designer, knitwear designer, leather designer, and accessory designer, etc., etc. These are also the careers that you can think about when it comes to design technology. Now, career constellation, taking it further with the space, objects, and industry. Zone 1 is the industrial designer, where you will be combining the art, business, and engineering into the conceptualized manufacturing products and appliances and cars. With the Zone 2, the automobile designer, where you are with the focusing on the ergonomics, aesthetics, and components of road vehicles. With Zone 3, the spatial and interior designers with the navigating structural alterations, blueprints, building codes, and aesthetic furnishings. And Zone 4 with the urban designer determining the land use, housing development, and transportation needs for growing populations. So Zone 5, exhibition and the visual merchandiser, crafting the spatial experiences for museums, trade shows, and retail environments to maximize engagement. So with the specialized roles, furniture designer, ceramic designer, and toy designer, and you can think about these careers as well. Last but not the least, the career constellations of the digital technology in the field of media, communication, fine arts. It's art and creative design director supervising and unifying the visual vision across advertising, film publishing, and gaming. Communication graphic designer developing visual layouts, concepts to inform, captivate, and persuade consumers. Fine artists and sculptures with creating standalone places, painting, glass, blowing, molding, etc., with provoking emotion and spark thought. Photographer, photojournalist, and cartoonist documenting events, telling stories, and creating visual paradoxes and the sequential images. With the film and the video communication designer, blending storytelling, cinematography, graphic design for multimedia platforms. So with the specialized roles of art, history, curation, museum studies, game designing, animation, VFS, digital marketing, etc., etc., these are the different areas of careers that you can definitely think about. So beyond the studio, there is always one area which is open when it comes to definitely serving the humanity and the community, that the public sector and the national impact. With design arts graduate, you can join the Indian Armed Forces. Graduates can join the regular or short service commissioned officers, that is through Indian Air Force or Navy or Coastal Guard. You can always join civil services with the eligibility of prestigious All India Civil Services, IAS, IPF, IFS, with 16 Group A services with IFS and IRS. You can always join government organizations with the vast openings in the nationalized banks, railways, and defense requiring clearance of SSC, PSC, UPSC examinations. And definitely, with the academia, you can always become a trainer providing training and support as educators in specialized institutions and universities. So, with the synthesis of blueprint, mapping your profile to the profession, you can think about research and strategic tech. That is, tech means you are the techie person with UI and UX designer, fashion technologist, curator, critical journalist, etc., where you should have a very high academic involvement in that. With a visionary role and systematic role, very highly academic and highly practical. Exactly. You can think about these urban designer, art and creative director, industrial designer, etc. If you're inclined towards kind of a low academic and highly practical, hands-on creator with 3D modeler, couture, ceramic designer, sculptor, and fine artist. Say, for example, if you're very low practical and low academic as well. So, with empathy-driven core roles like interior and spatial designer, virtual merchandiser, social media manager, all these things can really make up your career. So, your unique combination of aptitude and orientation is your greatest professional asset. So chart your course accordingly. So moving ahead to the next area of study, that is architecture and planning. With the architecture and planning being your study, as a career roadmap always says, that distinguishing the fields and identifying diverse professional pathways, defining the disciplines of architecture, the art of structure, the state of art, focused on designing the specific buildings that are functional, safe, and aesthetic pleasing. Thereby, you can always get into the city mapping and city planning and the science of space with organizing neighborhoods, cities to promote efficient land use and sustainable development. Within the regulated excellence, which is being there with COA, that is Council of Architecture, that will regulate all educational and professional practices which are involved nationwide. So, your career horizons will be architects, urban planners, landscape architects, restoration specialists for historical sites in the archaeology department, or otherwise managerial and government parts with the construction management roles in the Archaeological Survey of India, that is ASI, and public sector opportunities. Where it all stems from? Definitely the 4-quarter square method, as we know. IAOP, that is interest, aptitude, orientation, and personality. Thereby, when it comes, what's the difference between the built environment, architecture versus planning? If you're going to take architecture as your field of study, the focus will be designing specific buildings and structures. Scale will be micro, residential, commercial, and even public spaces, where the core objective could be blending art and science together, aesthetic, spatial arrangements, and functional safety. So, the concept of STEM is already there in the engineering science altogether. With the planning, in every field of science that we can see, the STEM is already there involved in it, or STEM through stream is always involved in it. So when it comes to the planning, architecture planning for as your field of study, your focus will be organizing spaces, cities, and regions with macro neighborhoods, regional planning, and environment, where your core objective will be efficient land use, infrastructure management, zoning laws, and sustainable development. While both operate at different scales, they share the similar goal of creating harmonious, well-functioning environments for communities to thrive. So, what does your candidature blueprint says? First, stamina, ability to spend long hours with books or computers. Collaboration, strong ability to work seamlessly in a team. Aptitude, highly scientific and design-oriented thinking. Visualization as a basic skill, advanced drawing and sketching skills. With the precision of uncompromising eye for detail, with the articulation, definitely good communication skills to translate ideas, the mental ideas into built realities. So, are you built for this with the candidature blueprint? Then you are the right place. With the core framework, exactly of the 4-quarter square method that we have done, exactly decoding the quarters of interest and aptitude with specific subject skills, environmental interaction with the hobbies and activities, with the intrinsic motivation, and the aptitude of mathematics and computing, logical reasoning, and technical problems abilities, with the scientific view or the scientific eye of critical thinking and experimentation, and definitely the skill-based orientation of practical, task-oriented, trade-specific abilities, with the social sciences and language of communication, cultural understanding. We are going to decode the quarters of orientation and personality as well. As we have seen before, what is your academic orientation and practical orientation, where you fall into, you need to gauge it and you need to map it, you need to have monitor it through and through. So when you map your career exactly with architectural and planning degree, that's a degree in this field, builds a flexible foundation, opening pathways far and beyond the traditional structural design. So with the ecosystem and mapping your future, that is, it could be a technical career of designers, planners, and innovators, managerial careers of execution and oversight, government and law enforcement with the regulation and heritage, with the academic careers of shaping the next generations as educators, and non-core careers of banking, civil service, and armed forces would be your own area of work. So when it comes to the technical careers, it's going to be called as a space designers exactly, with the careers being known as architect, architectural engineer, spatial designer, and interior designer. So when it comes to the architect, what you'll be doing, you'll be turning ideas into built environment considering aesthetics, safety, and client functionality. Architectural engineer combines structural, electrical, mechanical, lighting systems into an integrated whole into enhancing living standards. So if you are inclined towards it, then you can choose that profession. So spatial designer, a new discipline harmonizing interior and exterior landscape designed to optimize how people move and interact, thereby you are involved in the planning. So interior designer focus on the functional, safe and building interior spaces, navigating blueprints and building codes, etc. So thereby curators and innovators, there's another area of work that you can think about, that is extreme architect, restoration architect, industrial product designer, landscape architect. That also is something. So when it comes to extreme architect, what you will be doing or you are expected to designs unpredicted climatic changes and global warming scenarios, high demanding future proofing. So when it comes to the restoration architect, preserves, conserves historic buildings and monuments without altering their original essence, talking about sustainability. Industrial and product designer focus on small-scale design of mass production items, including furniture and toys design, etc., for example. So landscape architect design parks, campuses, outdoor public spaces with focus on stormwater management and environmental conservation. So as curators and innovators, if your technical career is somewhere around this, if your interest of study is somewhere around this, then you can choose these as your careers. So coming to the macro planners exactly, the urban and the regional planner develops the land use plans to accommodate population growth and revitalize metropolitan physical facilities. So also town planner focuses on development, regeneration, sustainability involving large diverse populations and economies. Being a building surveyor offers advice on maintenance, repair, refurbishment and evaluation of the residential and commercial properties. Economic development and planner drives project funding initiatives requiring excellent research writing and analytical skills. So if your interest or if your basic gene is any of these areas, you can think about these careers as well, making engineering as your main core study. Apart from that, execution and oversight with the manager and government roles. Managerial construction engineers supervises contractors, laborers, interfacing with architects and civil engineers on site. Project managers direct and completion of projects, ensuring they stay on time within budget and within scope of work. So when it comes to the government, basically inspector and conservation officer advise on planning, application affecting historical sites. Or if you want to work with the Archaeological Survey of India, roles like photographer, surveyor, superintendent assistant also could be thought about. With the government department, the roles with the Public Works Department, railways, and national housing schemes, etc., it can be suiting your career growth. So when it comes to the flexible foundation with the academic and non-core parts, that is core spatial and analytical skills, basically. Teaching, employed in architecture schools to help students churn out the next generation of professionals. Banking, direct entry into the private and public sector banks through exams like IPPS and SBI and RBI. So with the Indian Armed Forces, the direct entry through UPSC examinations like CDS, commissioned officers, AFCAT, that is Air Force, INAT, that is Navy, and Coast Guard schemes. Last but not the least, the Indian Services eligibility with the prestigious IAS, IPFs, and IFCS, IFS, and Group A and B Central Services, etc., etc. You can think about non-core parts, but still academics. So that's how the architecture science is all about. Engineering is all about distinguishing fields with the idea of diverse professional pathways which are available for us. Defining the disciplines, definitely, and the planning, exactly. You can work with the Regulated Excellence of India. There you can become architects, urban planners, landscape architects with the restoration specialists of historic sites, or otherwise you can work in the managerial and government parts as well. So, with that, we have come to the close or end of architectural engineering services. Now navigating our engineering background or the engineering field of study with the digital frontier, with the definitive career architecture guide to computer applications, structuring the paths from the curiosity to strategic clarity for students and educators. So navigating your path with the computer application, basically, we align interest, aptitude, orientation, personality to find the career path first. with the aptitude and orientation matching with the logical and technical problem solving aptitude, matching the hands-on and theoretical learning styles with the orientation, with the 4 dimensions of self-discovery of your interest, aptitude, orientation, and personality. Alignment is the key with the synergy of all the 4 dimensions, and it's crucial for long-term career satisfaction. Definitely, if you're a very high practical, high academic, or low practical, that you need to decide and you need to map it up. So, basically, what you will become exactly, data science and intelligence. That will be your whole area of study with the AI architect, designing scalable systems using machine learning and data science. Data scientists, roles like data scientists focus on scalable research-based software solutions. Cloud security specialists protecting sensitive data and applications hosted in cloud environment. Infrastructure and cloud security with the specialists and ensure that data integrity and manage transitions from local hardware to cloud environment. With specialized developers include blockchain developers, Android developers, and ethical hackers protecting network from attacks. With the specialized development and security, cybersecurity analysis with the research in IT trends and creating plans to prevent network attacks. So these are the different areas of computer application careers that you can think about. When deconstructing the computer application, moving beyond simple programming, computer application is a rigorous study and the deployment of the system designed to solve tangible problems with technology. With the computer application ecosystem, data and algorithms, the logic layer, focus on the algorithms, data structures to determine the complexity and solvability of problems. With the advanced programming and execution layer, spans fundamental languages to advanced visual and web programming to design functional and high-performing applications. With the systems and infrastructure, the foundation involves operating systems, database management systems, and security measures that ensure software runs safely and efficiently. So when it comes to the market reality driving the tech sector, the exponential demand of the IT professionals is fueled by the fundamental shift is how our global business operates. So when it comes to that, the global automation is very much in need. Basically, the drive for the internal, if you're thinking about that, the drive for the internal efficiency has made the automation of the processes a foundational requirement for the modern businesses, not just a luxury. With the MNC service scaling, the global multinational corporations that are MNCs are heavily demanding sophisticated software services to boost the scales and scale operations globally. So if you're thinking about that as your career, then that's where you can think about that. Then excellence in deliverables. The modern tech landscape requires extreme trust towards designing applications that perform seamlessly on handheld devices as highly intuitive and uphold strict security. So, as we all know, the compass is the 4-quarter square method with the interest, aptitude, personality, and orientation. Plotting your professional architect with the academic orientation from low to high, with the practical orientation, where you belong to from low to high, exactly, you can place yourself. And calibrating your core aptitudes exactly with the expectations which are there, with the mathematical and computing, scientific, social sciences, and the skill-based. Mapping it with the core aptitudes, you will structure your IT landscape. That is, we are trying to give you an overall idea, an overview of exactly the careers which are available, so you can choose the best career that is suitable to you. So with the A to Z list of the jobs, definitely to navigate tech sector, we must map our careers into 4 distinct functional domains. Domain 1 is the back-end logical intelligence, with the data and artificial intelligence being the main demand, analyzing information and building cognitive system. So if you are a very logical person willing to work in the back end, then this is your area of work with the data and artificial intelligence. Domain 2 is front-end user, who will be there as a software application and development will be your area of work, creating the interfaces and platform users to interact daily. The domain 3 is the infrastructure with the cloud and the system management, that building and maintaining the remote servers and the databases that house the digital world. Domain 4 is the shield. As we all know, the cyber security definitely requires for the data management with the advanced systems protecting the networks, encrypting data, and binary secure protocols. So, which is your domain of interest and study and your expertise? You can think about and you can pursue your career. So basically with domain 1, that is data and artificial intelligence, what you will become? AI architect, data scientist, data analyst, and big data engineer. So if you become an AI architect, what you will be doing? Designing and implementing systems, combining machine learning and deep learning to solve complex business problems, focusing on scalable, sustainable AI solutions. As a data scientist, you will be interpreting data to create actionable client reports, which requires strong statistical, mathematical programming skills, which are ideal for analytical thinkers. So if you become a data analyst, you will review the data to identify key customer insights and communicate findings to company leadership and to solve strategic business problems. The big data engineer designs, builds, and maintains the massive systems which require to process the large data sets, making data useful for scientists and analysis. So, if domain 1, that is data and artificial intelligence, is your interest or your core area of interest, you can think about these careers. With domain 2, as a software and application development, application engineer, Android developer, embedded system developer will be your career prospects. That is, being an application engineer, you will be creating foundational blueprint for software application, defines the overarching structure, user interface, and functionality to meet the business needs. As an Android developer, you will develop mobile application running an Android operation system, writing codes to ensure functionality and smooth user experience across billions of devices worldwide. With embedded system developer, you will help to design, develop, maintain embedded systems with physical products, which will require a unique blend of software development skills and also a deep knowledge of the hardware integration. If you feel domain 2 as a software application development engineer, if these are the areas or your interest, then your own prospects are as application engineer, Android developer, embedded system developer that you can think about. With domain 3 as a cloud and infrastructure management, which thinks about the huge AI storage which is there as cloud system administrator, cloud support engineer, database administrator, database developer, and computer system analyst. So when it comes to the cloud system administrator, you'll be transitioning local infrastructure to the cloud, configure environments, architects overarching data management system. As a cloud support engineer, technical professional who troubleshoots, optimizes, and secures cloud environments, acting as a primary point of contact for clients. As a database administrator, that is DBA, you will implement, maintain, repair organizational database, ensuring highly effective storage and organization of the data. As a database developer who specializes in designing and developing database, you will ensure information is stored efficiently and securely. Last but not the least, the computer system analyst bridges the business and IT by studying current procedures and designing information systems to help organizations operate more efficiently. So if your domain or if your areas of interest or with the domain 3, that's a cloud infrastructure management, you can think about these careers of cloud system administrator, cloud support engineer, database developer, database administrator, computer system analyst, and you can choose your field of study accordingly. Domain 4, cybersecurity and advanced systems, Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, cyber security analyst, cloud security specialist, ethical hacker and blockchain developer, cryptologist. Okay? So the Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, the executive managerial role, overseeing all organizational security and data protection strategies. Cybersecurity analyst protects the networks from attacks by researching trends, creating contingency plans, reviewing suspicion activity, and educating the company. So the cloud security specialist will ensure safety and integrity of the data and application hosted specifically in cloud environments against unauthorized accesses. As an ethical hacker and the blockchain developer, from testing network security legally to optimizing decentralized blockchain protocols and smart contracts. So cryptologist secures communication via encoding, encryption, and decryption algorithms to ensure ultimate confidentiality and authenticity of information. So if your areas of interest lies in domain 4, which subjects cybersecurity and advanced systems, you can think about these careers of CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, Cybersecurity Analyst, Cloud Security Specialist, Ethical Hacker and Blockchain Developer, and Cryptologist. So, how do we find it exactly? How do I know that my domain match my matrix with my alignment? So with the data and AI, so far what we are seeing, the dominant aptitude will be mathematical and scientific. So if you're a mathematical and scientific person, as a software developer, you should have a basic inclination towards logical and skill-based solution. With cloud infrastructure and system and skill-based, with the cybersecurity, it's going to be scientific and learn. That's the dominant aptitude. Now, when it comes to the ideal orientation, highly academic and low practical. That is, if you're a very curious scholar. But as a software developer, definitely you'll have a low academic and highly practical. With the cloud and the infrastructure development, highly academic and highly practical. With the cybersecurity, it's going to be closed, rule-bound, but highly practical. Where the core mission of achievement is extracting insight from complexity, that is, as a data and AI engineer, you'll be doing it. As a software developer, with the building functional and beautiful tools, with the cloud and infrastructure ensuring structural reliability and scale, with the cybersecurity definitely defending integrity and anticipating threats. So that's how the future of mass media lies in mass communication and the careers that you will be thinking about, creative and performing careers, etc. And that's what we are. So moving to the mass media now, from basically the computer application, we are moving ahead to the mass media. So if you feel that your domain is, as mentioned here, domain 1, 2, 3, 4, as a software application development or data and artificial intelligence or your cloud management or your cybersecurity, you can choose your career in the IT landscape. So moving ahead, we are moving into the mass media, basically, with the mass communication as interdisciplinary field centered with the strategic storytelling and information exchange across large population. Basically, we align it with the core four square method, as you know exactly, and the core candidate qualities or excellent communication, resilience, observational skills, and ability to analyze information. Or if you take the other way around, ability to analyze the information with a very observational skill, with the area of resilience and excellent communication. Definitely, you'll be a person in the mass media, where your professional landscape will somewhere range from creative and performance careers with front-facing roles of media as news anchor, filmmaker, photojournalist, and content writer, with allied and strategic careers as business and strategic of media, the brand manager, PR executive, digital marketing expert, and media planner as well. Even if mass media is your area of study, you should have your engineering background as such. LB of journalism and BMC of mass communication and grid of mass media. So when it comes to the media blueprint, the complete guide to the mass media, or what is mass communication? Basically, it is an interdisciplinary science of imparting information to large population. Beyond just delivering messages, it's about storytelling with strategy and purpose, with the dissemination, persuasion and effect, and the research and analysis exactly. Will be, if your ideal candidate profile is the interpersonal and creative with the analytical rigor and good articulation skills and with the precision and fortitude, you belong here. With the 4 square method, we'll be able to achieve it with the decoding 4 dimensions exactly with the highly academic, highly practical, low academic, highly practical, and with the hands-on ability of the mathematical and computing, with the logical take, scientific, with the critical thinking, with the social sciences and languages, with the skill-based exactly, relating it to the modern trends exactly. These are the areas of background that you can think about. But your academic ladder starts from the undergraduate of BA journalism, BMC with the multimedia, definitely, with the postgraduate of MA and doctoral and postgraduate degree. With the specialization of the journalism and broadcasting, with the general journalism, broadcast journalism, and sports journalism, that also you can think about exactly with some scientific background to your areas of work. core subjects will be law, with magazine journalism, Indian politics, and photojournalism. Like voice modulation, camera, and script writing, TV and radio production, etc. You can think about with the broadcast journalism. With the sports journalism, definitely sports broadcasting, sports PR, and media and marketing, sports commentary, etc. that you can think about. With corporate and branding, exactly with the public relation, advertising and corporate communication, you can think about these areas of work that can make up your career. With the specialization matrix of the digital media and the mass media, the creation, management, distribution of the content through digital channels, where the search engine optimization, web content, social media strategy, CMS, analytics, all becomes your specialization. When it comes to the mass media, definitely the broad sociological cultural approach to media studies, sociology, cultural studies, and understanding cinema, feature of opinion, media planning, etc. That's why we call this field of study as interdisciplinary science of study. With the career landscape as content creators and performers, you will become anchors, radio jockeys, blog, creative writer, as on-cam, creative, the filmmaker, etc. Where off-camera, you can be the journalist, correspondent, columnist, editor, photojournalist, critic, etc. with editorial news. And with the strategic design and production, you can always become a brand and PR manager, UX, UI designer and web producer, digital marketing expert, and a producer with art director and visual merchandiser, etc. So these are also the careers that you can think about. But if you're making it through, definitely the Common University Entrance Test is the one that we need to take. That is CUET, conducted in online mode. That is with the section 1 of 13 languages, which is available in 13 languages, format of 40 to 50 questions with a total mark of 200. That's a primary part of admission, BMC, BA Journalism, Mass Communication and Central Public Private Universities across India. So this is what the future of mass media is all about, though it is about media, but it is more inclined towards science, exactly. So you should have basically the science knowledge to go about this. So navigating your career map with engineering as self-discovery to professional placement. That's what we have seen today with the foundation of the career alignment with the 4-quarter square method, with the orientation, aptitude, and evidence-based guidance framework, whether with the engineering mapping, with the engineering landscape and the pathways of chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, which are the 4 pillars of the modern engineering, where the core specializations will include the hub stations that we have talked about, but the basic requisite of the engineering mindset, which requires a hazel-aligned functional requirements, analytical thinking, pressure management, and the communication skills, where you can think about making up your career with BTech and BE, integrated BTech, or the dual degree of BTech, MTech, and PhD, doctorate, etc. As detailed academic progression pathways. Definitely, when it comes to the career-based pathways, you can think about other than the engineering aspect, you can always think about beyond the technical roles. You can think about pivot your career into diverse fields of Indian civil service, armed forces, banking, and entrepreneurship, etc. So, with that, we have come to the end of our session. And we owe a sincere thanks to IIU for giving us this opportunity. As engineering is a vast field of study, you have to choose your own career. You have to make your own career based on your basic line of interest, mapping it with your skills and capabilities, aligning it with the academic progression. Thereby, you can make up your own career with the areas of interest and the field of study that you really want to do. So, thank you so much. Thank you, IIU, for giving this wonderful opportunity. And definitely, next week, we'll be meeting up with one more field of study that we'll be definitely informing you well before time, so that we will be always happy to have you all here answers. Thank you so much. Thank you, IIU. Thanks for giving this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Virginia and Dr. Piyush Pandit, and also the IIU team, exactly, for creating such a wonderful platform where we are able to share our knowledge and experiences. Thank you.